Thanks so much for getting the Santa on the Unicorn kit. How cute is this? So we are going to be using our acrylic paints that come in the paint kit. I've got all my brushes and my napkins ready, and you guys are also going to want to grab a water cup. I always use an old cup and just reuse it. Cover your paint surface because this paint does not clean off, and put on some comfy clothes. You don't want to get paint on your clothes. Turn on some Christmas jams and maybe get yourself a snack and a drink, right? Okay, now if I were you, I would leave all the paints in the tins until it comes time to mix our own colors. Okay, so leave them all in the tins. That way you can just pop the lids back on with any paint that you didn't get to use. Okay, and then maybe paint your bag or something, right? So I'm going to start with my biggest brush. Oh, there went one. That has the rectangle-y corners. Okay, biggest brush. And I am going to make this a night sky, just like it is in the picture online. So I'm going to dip straight into the black paint, not going to do anything special with it, and I'm going to stick it on here. Now something different about the black paint is you would think that it would cover really well one coat and be good to go, but I think because it's so thick that sometimes it has a hard time getting in the grooves of the canvas. So you may actually find yourself painting the same area twice just to make sure you get your paint on thick enough and getting it filled into the grooves. Now the reason why I'm going kind of slow around each of these is because I don't want to accidentally paint something I don't mean to. Because yes, we can fix oopsies, but it's really hard to cover up black paint. So if we have oopsies with that, then it'll be a little trickier to fix. Now, if you don't trust yourself with this Big Dog Daddy brush, then most definitely use a smaller brush to outline and then switch to the big guy to fill in. So we kind of got this section right here outlined. So now I can go in and start filling in my canvas just like this. Now if you're like me, you may also want to bring the color on over to the edges. I like to paint my edges. Be careful though when you're doing the edges. If you get going too fast, you might be flinging paint. I never really realized I did that until I got home and was painting on video and noticed that I was flinging paint on myself because I don't stand quite this much to the side of the canvas whenever I'm painting in person at the studio. Oops. Okay, so we'll get this filled in, and then like I said, if you notice that there's thin spots or there's little bitty white polka dot spots showing through, you can always pop a second quick coat on those areas if you need to. Okay, so I'm going to paint down and around. Now we have lots of other art kits to choose from on the website. So maybe this was given to you as a gift and you want to order another one. You just go to artsyrose.com/holiday-art-kits. If you don't want a holiday one, guess what, guys? We even have not holiday ones. Like, I have over 120 designs to choose from. So many choices. It doesn't have to be a holiday themed one, okay? All right, so I am going so slow around these areas. So slow. There we go. Okay. Oh, we gotta go around this little fluff ball right there, don't we? Okay, and again, if you don't trust yourself with the Big Dog Daddy, then that means that you should switch to one of the smaller brushes, outline, and then switch back to the big guy to actually fill it in, okay? So I'm going to outline some more since I'm to a new area. Outline, 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 and then fill in. And the reason why I just outline little bits at a time and then fill in is because I used to outline the whole thing. And if I'm using a lighter color, like say maybe you wanted to do a day sky, it doesn't have to be a night sky, And then, so you do a lighter color outlining everything first, then you go back and fill in. Well, it's super noticeable where you go back and fill in because the outline paint has already dried by the time you get to the fill in part, and then it's like extra dark on the outline, if that makes sense. So if I outline, fill in, it's all one nice layer, okay? Now, if we get a little bit into an area we didn't mean to, nobody's going to know unless you tell them. Like I got a little bit on my curves that I didn't mean to. Nobody knows unless we tell them, right? Okay, now since I painted the whole left side and I painted the whole top, that means I've got to paint the side. So we're going to bring this color on over to here, just like this, and get this all filled in. Just like that, okay? So now we have 3 sides completely painted in, and then we have to remember at some point to flip it upside down and paint the bottom whenever we're doing that color. Okay, now again, you can do whatever colors you want. This is your own process. This is your own painting. You are your own special artist. There's no wrong answer when it comes to how you choose to do your painting and what colors you choose to do, okay? Make sure you get under his belly, between both legs, and all the way around, all right? So now, to clean our brushes, you have to really, really, really rub these. Oh, I just saw a spot when I was looking up there at the camera. Look, right here, guys. I almost forgot. Right under his armpit. We gotta get up underneath there. All right. There we go. Okay. Oh, and now I see another spot. OMG. Little sneaky guy. Gotta get up underneath that other armpit, don't we? There we go. And maybe right there, if you just use the corner of this brush, it will make little bitty brush strokes. Now, let's say you don't want to mucky up your water. You could just take this brush to the sink and clean it out and not clean it in the water, but it's up to you. You can always clean out your water later, right? So, in order to clean our brushes go all the way to the bottom, and then we smush and swirl like a ballerina. Smush and swirl. Very gently, no crazy dancing because then it goes everywhere. No tapping because then it goes everywhere. So instead, I just wipe, just like that. Wipe, 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 wipe. And then I dry, dry, dry. Okay, plus that gets the extra paint off that might be on there as well. Okay, so now, there we go. Now we've got to think about everything else going on in our artwork, okay? Again, you can choose all your own colors. My colors may not necessarily be what you want to do. So I think down here I'm going to make this kind of a peppermint swirl type feel, okay? So I am going to grab me some white. You can grab some white out of a tin. I'm going to put it next to my red. I'm going to grab just a little bit of red at a time because I am going to make a pink. So a lot of white and just a little bit of red is going to make a pink. We want to keep our mixing pile kind of small. Roll that brush off because we don't want too much paint on our brush at once. And we can start filling this in. Now, we do want to be extra, extra careful. I'm going to flip that on his head for a minute. We do want to be extra, extra careful when we paint this in, and the reason being is because that background is probably still wet. And then remember earlier I said since I painted all 3 sides, I needed to remember to paint the bottom. Sometimes I forget about that because, you know, out of sight, out of mind, right? There we go. Okay, and then we'll paint, oh, I don't have to paint that edge because that's all black. Okay. There we go. And we'll paint around this, paint around that. Bring this up here. And then if we get a little bit of background paint in our brush, we just wipe it off on the napkin, no big deal, and continue on. So again, every single thing we paint, we outline first, and then we fill it in, okay? Oop, just like that, got background color in there on accident. Okay. And since that's a swirl, I'm going to fill it in with a swirl. There we go. Fill that on in with a swirl. Ta-da. There we go. Okay. And fill that in. There we go, just like that, guys. Okay, so that is just our base to our little peppermint swirl. Why not? Then we can grab one of our smaller brushes. Oh, just got pink paint all over my hand. We can grab one of our smaller brushes. Maybe, man, I'm missing one of my brushes. Okay. I'll grab the smaller flat one with the flat corners, and what I'm going to do is I am going to put just a little bit more red in to darken that up. Okay, just like that. So we're making a darker value of the same color, and I'm going to swirl this in on my canvas. There we go. There we go. Awesome. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to add even more red to it. So now we have an even darker pink. And then we'll swirl a little bit of that in. Okay. So it kind of gives it an extra little pop of emphasis because it's not just all one value, one color. Anytime you can add extra value, so lightness or darkness of a color to a painting, it creates just a little bit more excitement to your painting, right? Okay, so the bottom is not going to be dry yet, but that is okay. We're going to go ahead and flip it back the right way because I don't want to make your brains hurt too bad, and I know that sometimes when I'm painting upside down it makes my brain hurt a little bit. All right, there we go. I got paint on my fingers, so I'm just going to wipe those off. It's not washable off surfaces and off your clothes, but it is totally washable off our skin because we do have natural oils in our skin. Okay, so now we've got to think about our unicorn. So our unicorn is going to be, I'm doing my unicorn a really soft, well, like a turquoise, honestly, but I do want it to be a little bit more green, but your kids don't come with green, right? So the way you're going to make green is we're going to take some yellow, and then we're going to mix a little bit of blue in at a time. The more blue we add, the darker the green will be. The less blue we add, we'll wind up with like a lime green, okay? So it's kind of up to you what sort of green you're going for. I'm trying to go for more of a normal green, okay? There we go, just like that. Then I can take this and I can mix it with my turquoise and kind of make a more aqua, or I don't know what we would call that, but anyway, there we go. And I am going for a soft version for the unicorn, so I'm going to make a really light version over here by adding a chunk of white into some of it. Not all of it, just some of it, and you'll see why. Okay, so we have a really soft version. I could even make it softer than that by adding more white. Okay, there we go. Now, just like we did on the outside, we're going to do the same thing on the inside. We're going to outline and then we're going to fill in, and we're going to be really careful just in case our background is still wet. We got to be really careful, okay? There we go. And then we fill in. So we outline and we fill in, and we outline and we fill in. Okay. There we go. Okay, and fill in, and then we outline. Just like that, and then we fill in. Okay. So that's what we're going to continue to do on the whole unicorn, is we outline, fill in, okay, until we get the whole thing painted. If you don't trust yourself with the smaller flat brush that has the pointy corners, then you can always outline with an even smaller brush and then go in and fill in with this guy, okay? So you know your touch. I will say the softer your touch, the thinner your brush strokes will be, which means the thinner your lines will be, which means you're going to be keeping the paint where it belongs. Okay, so that's something to think about. There we go. And we'll get up here underneath Santa's booty on the unicorn booty and get that filled in. There we go. And I appreciate everybody watching. Remember, you can get a different art kit or an art kit of your choice at artsyrose.com/holiday-art-kits. And if you don't want a holiday one, you can just go to our art kits on the website at artsyrose.com and choose from over 120. Okay, I think that's all of the unicorn. His main, or her, I guess actually, main parts. Now let's talk about the extra. Okay, and I want to make sure I match my colors, so let's double check. So what I'm going to do is we're going to use this darker version that we made earlier. Remember that original darker version of turquoise? And we're going to use that. You know what? I'm going to teach y'all a little trick. Look what else I'm going to do. I'm going to grab just the teeniest bit of red and mix that in as well. Just like this. There. Oops. Okay. Whoop. There we go. So red is green's complement, and turquoise is pretty much like green. So by putting just a teeny bit of red into my greenish turquoise that I made, it helps darken it up. Some people think, let's just put black in our color and that's going to make it darken up. And yes, it does, but sometimes it really affects the color. So if you use its complement instead of using black, that's going to keep the color more true to what it's supposed to be, if that makes sense. Okay? So we're getting this all painted in. I appreciate everybody that's watching, getting this video all recorded. Remember, you guys can pause my video at any time, get yourself caught up, or if you miss something, definitely rewind, if that's even what they call it on YouTube. Is that what they call it? When I was a kid, you know, it was VHS tapes, and there was definitely no YouTube. There we go. Okay. There we go. Nice. Okay, so we have our darker greenish turquoise and our lightish, right? Now, if you trust yourself with this brush, you can use this same color, and really it's just 2 brush strokes to get those all filled in. There we go. There we go. Oh, and the boots. I know typically boots are black. I did them not black in this painting. You can do them whatever color you want. And then we did a pattern. I did a pattern on the horn. I think that might be it on the darker color. Let's double check because I don't want to steer you wrong. Okay, I think so. So now, before I move away from the turquoise, I'm going to take the lighter turquoise and do some fun swirls. If your dark turquoise is too wet and it's just blending and not laying right on top, then skip this step for a minute, let it dry, and then you can come back to it. Because if it's too wet, then it's just going to blend and not even be noticeable, right? So I'm just trying to trace those Sharpie lines that are already on there that are kind of showing through. They're a little tricky to see. You can always just make up your own if you can't see them. Or a trick that I learned is you can shine a light behind your canvas, and that allows the Sharpie lines to show through. So like you can turn on the light on the flashlight on your phone and shine it behind the canvas, and then it's going to help those Sharpie lines show through. Okay. I do see a teeny spot I missed, guys, right? Yeah. It's going to be black. Okay, now let's talk about Santa. So we need to color his outfit, and we need to put some red on the unicorn. So for example, right in here is going to be red. Okay, just like that. There we go. Awesome. Okay, then we know that this is red because I did red and green. Ooh, but you could do red and white like a candy cane. That would be super cute. So again, this is your painting. You do you. Maybe your unicorn is not turquoise. Maybe it's a different color, right? Okay, now we can work on getting his little pants all filled in. So we outline and fill in. Outline and fill in. There we go. There we go. I can't believe it's almost Christmas. Or depending on when you watch this video, it may already be Christmas. It may be past Christmas. Okay, and then when we fill in, it's just nice long brush strokes. And I'm just sticking with the little brush. A, so I don't have to clean it out. B, because it's really not that big of a space. So if I stick with the little brush, then I'll definitely stay in the lines. The bigger the brush you have, the more chances that you have of getting out of the lines. And also, if you have a heavy hand, using a smaller brush is going to help you make smaller brush strokes, right? Okay. And we've got to do his hat, of course. Of course. Now, you have some options here in a bit, and that is painting all the white spots white. And do you really have to? No, you really don't. Especially if a little one is painting this, you definitely don't have to, because it's just more reason to accidentally paint out of the lines. But if you wanted to, the reason I would suggest painting the white spots white is because this paint has just the teeniest bit of gloss to it, not hardly at all, but when it dries, if you catch it from the angle, you'll definitely be able to tell the spots that you just did not paint, that you left white, okay? So it's just a thought. It'll be noticeable if the light hits it just right? Just wrong, whatever we want to say. Now what if I gave him a really light pink nose? So we do a lot of white and just a little bit of red that's left in my brush, right? Fill that in. There we go. Cute little red nose. And we got to make him some skin color. So what I think would be the best thing to do would probably be white, little bit of brown, so we make like a tannish color. Then, depending on what tone you want Santa to be, we can mix a little bit of white and red, or oh my gosh, yellow and red together like that. And then put a tad of that in there, not as much as I just did. So a teeny bit of orange in there. And now we have a bit of a skin tone. Because we don't want to leave Santa white. Even though he lives at the North Pole, he's probably not white. And in fact, you can give your Santa any skin color you want because this is your painting. And again, don't worry about those Sharpie lines. After everything dries, you can take that permanent marker that's included in your kit and retrace everything, right? Right. Okay. Now, because I think he really has black gloves, but because we have a black sky back here, if I color his glove black, then it's going to blend in. I could make his glove green to match his boot, or I could make it red to match his outfit. It's really up to you. I think I'll just go with red. So realistically, I should have painted it earlier, but that's okay. When I had red in my brush. But that's okay, right? All right, so now, yay, we are down to not much. Okay, so I'm going to use some yellow to paint my bell yellow. Ooh, or if you have gold at home, you could paint it gold. Or if you have glitter, you could paint it yellow. And then sprinkle some glitter on top. I love glitter. There we go. There we go. Okay. And now, the last thing, if you trust yourself with your small paintbrush, you could totally use your small paintbrush for this. If you don't, you can use your permanent marker. My permanent marker is kind of dried out. Boo. Let me get a new one in here in my little video recording room. Okay. Well, darn. Okay, that's okay. I'll just use my babyest brush and my black paint, and I'll just paint that in. You can do the same thing, or you can use your permanent marker, especially if your unicorn is dry, then you can definitely use your baby marker or your permanent marker. If your unicorn is wet, I would wait to use your marker. Flip my brush upside down, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to dip it in my white paint, and I'm going to do my little dot and my little dot, just like that. And then, after it's dry, I'll go back and totally paint or retrace all of those black lines with my permanent marker. Now, if you wanted to, you could take a teeny bit of black, mix it with your white so you make a gray. And if we wanted to, on here, we could just kind of give him some curve lines in here, so it's just not so much white. It kind of breaks up that space. You could even do all of that fluff on his hat and his outfit too, with just pops of gray too if you wanted to. So this, my friend, is our super cute Santa on the unicorn. I love him. Very fun. And I loved getting to paint for you and with you. I hope you enjoyed the process and enjoyed your painting art kit, and I cannot wait to do some more art with you.